It's freaking me out. Was it entertaining? Absolutely. I just realized what the problem is with these books. It was just like the perfect book. I feel like this was written for me. Once again, I can't believe this is the same author. Colleen Hoover. The amount of controversy surrounding her books, are they good? Are they the worst written books ever? What are they? I don't know, because I've never read one. I told myself when I started reading I would never read Colleen Hoover, and my main reason is that from what I hear about her, she writes about a lot of triggering, traumatic things that I don't want to read about, and she has a lot of spice in her books, and I really prefer to avoid spice when I can. If there's like 1 or 2 chapters, whatever. But I've heard like her books are basically surrounded around spice, so I'm gonna try my best to see if I can read them, kind of skip around the spice and still enjoy them, and see if I like her writing style. I'm starting with Verity. The reason I'm starting with this is because a friend loaned it to me. I've heard it's one of her better books because I'm pretty sure it's like suspense, thriller vibes, not like romance. Never read a book like this before. I'm actually already a couple chapters in and I'm hooked. Like, I'm excited to see how this goes. I'm a little concerned that people say this has spice based on how the book is already going. I'm like, what do you mean? In this video, I am going to be reading a couple of Colleen Hoover's most popular books. I'm gonna read Verity. It Ends With Us, because I want to see the movie, so I want to read the book first. And then maybe like Ugly Love, or what's the other one, like November 9 or something like that. I don't know which ones I'm gonna read. I feel like I'm not gonna like them, but I also might surprise myself and end up enjoying them. So let's see. Update. I did get in some pages. I'm on page 100, so I'm about 30% of the way through the book, and it is picking up. It is eating. I don't know like at all what's gonna happen, but it's finally starting to be like, whoa. And I've heard, okay, the one thing I know about this book is apparently at the end there's like 2 ways you can think of it, and a lot of people like discuss their thoughts on the very end of it. So I'm really excited. Things are getting like definitely a little bit more suspenseful, and I read the back. It is a romantic thriller. I'm about to read it at night here in my bed. Hopefully I don't get scared, but I honestly think I might be able to finish it tonight. Literally my one complaint is it's pretty raunchy. Like, it's not just like, oh, there's a smut scene like in my romantasy books where there's like, oh, okay, they're in love, whatever. This is like raunchy. And you can't skip the spice scenes because they're talking about important stuff whilst doing activities. So I just detach myself from it and pretend like that's not happening because it just makes me uncomfortable to read. But anyways, I feel like I'm interrupting someone, you know? That's just me though. Other than that, it's really good. So let's keep reading. I am halfway, if not maybe a little more than halfway through the book, so time for a little update. I cannot put it down. I'm probably gonna finish it tonight, but it is just like reeling me in. I'm kind of scared because it's getting dark outside, and as soon as it gets dark, I bet this is just gonna pick up and get even more scary. I didn't think I would enjoy this book so much. Like, I'm actually shocked how much I'm enjoying it. And I just want to keep reading because it's like there's a book within a book, and then like I genuinely have no clue where this is going. Like, I have like 4 theories of what could happen, but it's leaving everything so vague and like it unveils so slowly that I don't know. And I love that. Like, when I read this, I genuinely feel like I'm watching a movie. I can envision every part of it, like what the lighting would look like, what the music in the background would be like for like this little thriller. Oh, I'm loving it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Things picked up and there was like this low-key scary part, and right as it was like getting to the peak of kind of scary, someone knocked on my door, and it is like dark outside. It's like 8 p.m. No, it's 9 p.m. I'm like, what the heck? One of my neighbors every once in a while will like stop by on their walk and just say hello to us. Totally fine. But oh my gosh, that scared me. And I was like, I was reading a thriller book. That just scared the crap out of me. Anyways, back to reading. Gosh, okay, I have about 80 pages left. I'm too scared. Did I mention that I don't do well with scary stuff? And like, in the grand scheme, this isn't that scary, but the way it's written, it's freaking me out. And it's like dark outside, and I can't. I need to like lay in bed with my husband next to me if I'm gonna finish this, but I doubt he's ready for bed yet, and I don't know why, I'm just scared. I feel like the next page is gonna scare me, and I just got so into it. secured my safety person, so now I can finish my scary book in bed. I'm genuinely scared right now. Last night. I've had some time to think about how I'm gonna rate Verity. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 stars. And I don't really know how to describe how I feel about this book, because on one hand, I did get really sucked into the story. It was a super quick read. I really flew through it, and I like that. Like, if I'm looking for just like, okay, I'm trying to get through a book real quick just to have something to entertain me, sure, yes. It is a piece of entertainment. Is it a good book? I don't know if I would say that. Did I like it? I don't know if I would say that. Was it entertaining? Absolutely. Was it disturbing? Absolutely. I would say some of these scenes I wish I never read. But like in the moment I was like, oh my gosh, I'm liking it because I was sucked into the story. But I feel like I like it in the way that I'll watch like a really badly made movie just because I want something stupid and entertaining. And at the end I'm like, that was a waste of time, but I'm glad I did it, you know? So that's where the 3.5 comes from. There's some crazy stuff that happens in here that I low-key wish I never read, and I'm actually a little bit concerned about what goes on in Colleen Hoover's head, that she was able to write this and feel okay about herself. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of touchy subjects. I didn't like a single character in here, but I think that's kind of the point. They're all sick and twisted, but it's a thriller, so that's what you expect. But I don't really like scary stuff. But yeah, there were two scenes that like, I was peeing my pants. I was honestly scared. So that is Colleen Hoover book number 1. If you guys want to hear a few of my like what team I'm on and maybe some reasons I didn't necessarily like the book and reasons that I did, spoiler version, then watch to the end of the video. All right, second book we're reading just became available on Kindle on my Libby app from the library. So I'm gonna read it, and it is It Ends With Us. This is the one that I was low-key scared to read because it basically, I'm pretty sure, starts with an abusive relationship, and I don't know how I'm gonna feel reading that. If it's anything compared to this last book, which I don't think anything can be worse than that as far as like abuse goes, we'll see. I'm scared. The good news is that her last book at least was hard to put down because you just get thrown into the world. So I'm hoping that happens with this one, and hopefully I can just read it. I'm going to the pool. We'll see if I can just read it in one sitting. I decided the third and final book I'm gonna read for this video for her is Heartbones. I heard really good things about this one, so I don't know. A lot of people recommended Ugly Love, but I know that's like one of the more spicy ones, and I really don't want to read that. I really wish I had the physical copy, but I don't want to buy the book because what if I don't like it? So I'm just gonna do the Kindle for now, and hopefully it's good. I had to come back home to eat some lunch, but I got one chapter into It Ends With Us, and it's, I guess, catching my intrigue. I have kind of no idea where this is going, but once again, we are starting off with some dark stuff. What is going on in Colleen Hoover's brain, okay? I just want to have a good fun time, so clearly her books are not for me, but at the same time, I'm getting sucked in. So let's continue reading. I got to page 101, which is crazy because this isn't even the only reading I've done today. I also read some of my other books, so I've read over 100 pages today, but I like the book so far, and I've obviously kind of spoiled it for myself that I low-key know what's gonna happen, but I don't like really know what's gonna happen. I just hear about it on TikTok and stuff and from people who have read it, so I'm worried. I'm concerned. I'm already a third of the way through the book, and yeah, I'm worried, but I actually like it. There's definitely parts of it that are really throwing me off, like the letters to Ellen is like a weird thing. Like, why? And then the whole like, I just want a one night stand, no I don't want to do it, like it's just weird. That's weird. But then like, I think I do like it. I'm definitely getting sucked into it. Just like with Verity, whether or not there's parts of the storyline I don't like, which I think there'll always be that in a book for me because I'm picky and kind of a hater, it's sucking me in and I can't put it down, so I feel like that just means I like it, you know? Like, it's easy to read, it flows nicely, there's no like slow parts in the story, there's no like, this isn't really a spoiler, but when she broke her ankle or whatever, I thought there was gonna be like a whole bunch of chapters about that, but it wasn't. It was literally just like boom, boom, we're still moving and grooving. So I really appreciate that about the writing. I just got to chapter 12 and the more I read this book, I actually am getting more of the ick. I don't really know why. It's just like some of the things that the characters say, I'm just like, what? And then like, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm just getting the ick, okay? And the only thing that is not giving me the ick is that there was a text from her mom that was like super cute and I was like, I love that. Anyway, moving on. Let's keep reading. The texting conversations actually make me want to vomit. I just realized what the problem is with these books, and it's gonna sound so mean, so I don't want to say it. But if you get me, you get me, and I don't mean this in a mean way, okay? You can tell that someone older wrote these books trying to be younger. That sounds so mean, but like, those are the vibes. It's like when my parents try to like talk Gen Z, like it just isn't gonna, which like Colleen Hoover isn't even that old, but those are the vibes. Unfortunately, that is the consensus, but let's keep reading. Just finished the book and returned it to the library, and we're gonna have review time. Okay, so to preface, I am rating it 2.5 stars. And I didn't say this at the beginning of the video, but if you like Colleen Hoover's books or you like this book or whatever, that's totally fine. Everybody has different book tastes. That doesn't like change how I see people or anything like that. Like what you like. If you're entertained, have a good time. I'm glad we're reading, okay? That being said, here's my like brutally honest review of It Ends With Us. 2.5 stars out of 5. That's half, because I would say this book was half good. There's not much I can say to explain my rating without doing spoilers, so definitely watch the spoiler section for a full review. But essentially, there are so many things in this book that gave me the ick. Like, I wanted to put it down, I had the ick so bad, I was like, what? I can't believe that actually just happened. I can't believe that is a part of this book. But the reason that I'm not giving it like a 1 star or whatever is because I was entertained. Sure, yeah, it's easy to get through. The ending kind of did make me a little bit emotional. It was definitely a tough read, one of the tougher reads that I've had in a while, and it had my emotions kind of all over the place, but I didn't like so much of the book. Like, so much of it I did not like. I'm giving it 2.5 stars. I'm so sorry. Even though I'm giving it a low review, I still understand that some people, you know, see this book as being able to see from the perspective of Lily and what she went through, and that it could maybe bring awareness, and I can totally respect that for what it is. But there were so many things in the book other than like the main plot point, because I can understand that main plot point of a book being maybe an important book to write, but it was like the way that it was written, like the good parts I didn't like. The parts you're supposed to like, I didn't like. So that's where I get my low review from. So the book was just not for me, and that's totally fine if it's for you. But I am still excited to see the movie, but I just like watching movies, so. The last Colleen Hoover book I'm going to read is Heartbones. I just got it from the library, literally same day I finished It Ends With Us. So let's read it. I'm almost 100 pages into Heartbones, and this is definitely gonna be my favorite Colleen Hoover book. I actually am enjoying it, and I feel like her writing isn't super cheesy and giving me the ick in this one. I just looked up like what the summary of it is. 2 young adults from completely different backgrounds embarking on a tentative romance, unaware of what the future holds. So it sounds like nothing crazy is gonna happen in this book. It could just be like a fun, cute romance, and basically she ends up in Texas on this island, and her neighbor is this guy, but they like don't like each other. So right now it's cute and fun. It's giving summer. It's giving beach house, just laying out, enjoying the summer, but she has a really rough past. She grew up really poor, and her mom just died of an overdose. So there is still like those heavy themes that Colleen Hoover likes. She likes to shock you with the first chapter of her books, like her mom dies in the first chapter. Sorry, I have the hiccups. So honestly, this one's my favorite so far, and I hope it continues to be good. my gosh, I just finished it. I have no idea what time it is. I've been reading for like hours. I just finished this entire book. I was only 30% of the way through when I got home, and I just finished it. My hair has like coconut oil all in it, so sorry it looks disgusting. I'm gonna shower and then I'll give my review because I just need to sit on this for a moment. It was so good. Heartbones review. Oh my gosh. I have so many thoughts. Okay, first off, my rating after thinking about it overnight, I think this is a 5-star read for me. It was just like the perfect book. I feel like this was written for me. And if you don't like this book, that's totally fine because I feel like you have to like be in a specific mood and maybe have specific connections to the book to really like it, because it is like nothing absolutely crazy happens. I don't know, it just like really did it for me. This is by far her best book, and I haven't even read all of them. I just know it's gonna be the best. So it takes place in Texas, right outside of Houston, right by Galveston. There's like this little peninsula right there. So I already felt so connected to this and was getting like nostalgic vibes for so many reasons. I lived in Houston for the past 2 years and went to Galveston quite a bit. So I could perfectly envision like the vibes and how it must have felt and the weather and everything. So that like really hit home for me. And then this also just reminded me of being young, falling in love, beach romance, and you know, figuring out who you are. So I just really connected to the characters, and obviously not on everything, but like emotionally, I guess. I feel like at this age, I was kind of in that finding myself stage as well, and I just really related to a lot of the things that they would talk about. It didn't feel too like, you know, it didn't feel cringy. It felt just like what every 18, 19-year-old would be thinking about. I loved being thrown into this world, and I was so connected to both the main characters, and in fact, I loved every single character in this book. I feel like we got just enough of all the characters to be able to connect to them. I think what really got me with this book is it felt real enough. It was realistic, but also distant enough that it still felt like I'm kind of escaping reality by reading this book. Obviously, I'm sure there's like plot holes in this book, and it wasn't meant to like, you know, you go in and dig out every little thing like, oh, well, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense. But like, it's so easy to look past the plot holes and just follow the story because it flowed so well. The pacing was really nice. It wasn't like super fast paced, but it also wasn't slow paced. I feel like it just flowed really well. And this is the first, I feel like, romance where it didn't feel unrealistic. Like the way that they end up together and everything just makes sense. The timeline makes sense. And I love it. I genuinely can't believe this book was written by Colleen Hoover, the same author who wrote these other books, because I really did not like the other books that much. Compared to this, I mean, this has to be Colleen Hoover's absolute best book. Genuinely cannot believe the same author wrote Heartbones as It Ends With Us. Because It Ends With Us had so many like cringy lines that I just couldn't get past. This one, there was really only like maybe 1 or 2 times that I was like, interesting way to put that. But other than that, like, I just feel like it flowed so well. It was so cute. It low-key made me emotional at the end. And it's summer, beach romance. Oh my gosh, perfect. As I was reading this and getting to the end, I just kept thinking, I think this might be my go-to comfort book. Like, it just felt familiar in a way. It felt really comforting and just nostalgic for so many reasons. And that's why I feel like you have to be a certain type of person maybe to really enjoy this book. But it did it for me. I felt like the banter made sense. It felt age appropriate. It wasn't super cringy. There is some spice in this book, but as someone who doesn't like spice, it wasn't like raunchy. It was more romantic and nothing that really like set me off to be like getting the ick. Honestly, they act how I probably acted at this age, and I love that. Just everything about it was so like comforting and nostalgic. Beach houses, young love, Texas. Yes, and yes. So I think it's safe to say that I now officially don't hate Colleen Hoover. Her first 2 books were really putting me off. I was like, okay, I kind of get the hate, but I also knew so many people loved her. But this book, once again, I can't believe this is the same author. She should write a million books like this. So if she has any other books that are very similar to Heartbones, please let me know. I would love to read them. So cute. Loved it. I want to go buy the physical copy now because I need this on my shelf. As far as like characters, character development, relationships, everything in this book did it for me. The main girl's character growth was beautiful, amazing. The ending, amazing. The twist, I didn't expect it. It was really good. She has a relationship with a stepsister in this book, and it just like really warmed my heart the way that they connected, and the relationship with her estranged father, and just how everything like progressed over the book. Just, I loved it. I loved it. There was only really one scene in this entire book that threw me off. If you know, you know. But other than that, I was like, I love this book. Welcome to the spoiler section. First, we're talking about Verity. Okay, the scenes that really freaked me out, obviously, when Verity is at the top of the stairs. Oh my gosh, that is when someone knocked on my door and I almost peed my pants. I was scared. And then when she was like on her hands and knees on the baby cam, ooh, that scared me too. I am team manuscript. The letter doesn't actually make any sense if you think about it. I know there's a bonus chapter, but from what I saw on TikTok, I didn't read the whole thing, but I got the synopsis of it, and it seems like Colleen Hoover was just trying to get a quick buck and like just wrote that as like an afterthought, and it didn't seem true to the characters, and kind of just seemed like it was there just to like mess with your mind again. So I just refuse to believe that's real. If it wasn't in the first book, it's not real to me. It has to be manuscript, because in the letter, some of the things that she said just doesn't quite add up. Like, okay, but there was a scar on one of the twins' face, and she did tell Crew to hold her breath, and like all these like weird little things. Also, if Verity is such like an angel and she was never actually evil, why is she raising her son to be like evil? Like he's like cutting open his mouth with a knife and like all these like creepy weird things. I'm like, yeah, no, someone sick and twisted would have a son like that. Okay, cool. In this book, Colleen Hoover mentions that Verity is able to write from the villain's perspective because writers will sometimes pull from like their real life and what's actually going on in their head. Babes, you wrote this book. Why would you put that in a book you're writing about literal child abuse? Like, what? That actually low-key freaked me out, concerned me, because I'm like, I'm reading a book by someone who wrote a book about all this stuff, saying that people who write books like that pull from like reality. I'm like, okay. But I get it's fiction. I hope. I honestly wish I didn't read some of the parts in this book, because how does someone even think of that? It was literally making me feel nauseous, throwing up. I think this could have been a really good book if it didn't involve children. The fact that it involved children really just was not it for me. I love children. They're like literally the most innocent people on this earth, and it just made me really sad. So yeah, that was tough. All three people in this book, I hate them all. What's so special about Jeremy that two women are so obsessed with him? I don't understand. Jeremy's a freaking weirdo. He cheats on his disabled wife. He tried to kill his wife and then cheated on her. Cool. Clearly he obviously doesn't care about her, but he does think that, yeah. Anyway, I don't know. I just hate that there's cheating involved. Verity, obviously she's sick and twisted. Don't even need to get into that. And then there's Lowen, and she traps him with a pregnancy. She fantasizes about this man. There are just so many things in this book that I'm like, why is it there? Why is it written? But like, it sucked me in. So there you have it. It's a book. I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say I recommend it, but it's certainly a book. Honestly, I think my biggest reason for being team manuscript is if I were to write a manuscript that painted me as a murderer, psychopath, obsessive, crazy person, I would put on page 1, this is fiction, this is not a real autobiography, this is for dealing with trauma and learning how to write and read. Like, if you're gonna print it out, if you're gonna have this on your laptop, 2 things. There should be a massive disclaimer. And why did she not tell her husband, hey, I'm gonna rewrite all of our life as if it were a crazy thriller to help me get into the mode of writing? No warning, right? Okay, got it. And then my one thing why I could be team letter is that why would she write it down? But I have a feeling that she wrote it all down because she felt so guilty about it. So, spoiler section about It Ends With Us. If you liked the book, once again, that is fine. I'm just gonna point out all the things that I did not like about the book and why it got a 2.5 star for me. I will say that the 0.5 star does come from the fact that it did pull on my heartstrings at the end. It was kind of a tough read, and I understand that this could have like a good, you know, perspective. Like the plot, I understand could be good if it was written well, but I feel like it wasn't written well. So that's where the 0.5 star comes from. The 2 star is everything that I didn't like, essentially, but I didn't like hate it, otherwise it'd be a 1 star. So here's some of the things that just threw me off. First, I talked about, but it felt like it was someone older trying to write like they're in their 20s and having no idea how people in their 20s talk to each other. The banter was like really bad. Like I never felt a connection between any of the characters. The parts that were good gave me the ick, and the parts that were bad were obviously just like tough to read. The thing that I also did like about the book was the mother-daughter relationship, and then the very ending where it's like it ends with us and it's actually about her daughter. Like that really got me. And I love the best friend relationship, and like she's starting her business and all this stuff. I don't know if I just have a problem with like suspending my belief when something is in a book. Unless it's like a fantasy book, it's really hard for me to like suspend my belief so much. So the first thing is that Ryle, I don't remember how old he is, but he's like this super successful neurosurgeon and like super rich. And then his sister just happens to marry like a literal millionaire. Okay, what are the odds? That's crazy. And they all seem so young to be so rich. So that got me. The whole Atlas storyline, I felt like their connection was weird because he was like 18 and she was 15, and then whenever she lost her virginity to him, she was 16 and he was 19. Like that is actually criminal. Lock him up, put him in jail. I'm not here for that. I didn't like the whole, oh, I'm letting him come into my room and nope, I did not like that. The entire reason that Ryle and Lily's love story starts is he wants to have a one-night stand with her, and she sets her boundaries and says no. From the beginning, he pushes her boundaries, and he's like, okay, how far will you go? And then later on, he's like, I can't stop thinking about you. When they run into each other again, he's like, I literally just want to sleep with you. All he can think about is apparently sleeping with her. He hangs up a picture of her in his apartment from the first day he met her. Really creepy vibes. All I got was creepy, scary vibes. I'm scared. Why are we in love with him? Okay, he gets down on his knees and begs to sleep with her. Like, I just can't imagine wanting it, like being so down bad. It was rough. All the spy scenes, super rough. I pretty much skimmed through them unless it had like dialogue I needed to read. Yeah, it's just definitely tough. The whole Ellen DeGeneres thing, I cannot express to you how much this made me hate this book. If we took that part out of it, I probably would have maybe gave it a better rating. I don't like Ellen, never have. I find this plot really cringe that she's like this teenager writing to Ellen of all people and like about her sex life essentially as a teenager. And I know like, oh, she's a teenager, so like she didn't really know better, but Ellen, really? And then it's not like she got over it. Like when she goes to Atlas's house when they're adults and she's getting away from Ryle, they watch Ellen and she like loves it and laughs. I don't think I've ever watched Ellen and laugh. So I hated that like plot line, and then the just keep swimming thing and naming her daughter middle name Dory. Like I just ick. I got the ick. That's all I can say. Then there's the fact that she opens a flower shop and it's like instantly successful, which is like, oh, okay, cool, must be nice, right? Honestly, I just felt like there were a lot of things in the book that I can't suspend my belief enough to believe. And if it were real, it would be very like cringe, you know? I don't know if that makes any sense. Maybe I'm just being a hater. Things I liked about the book, a good moral of the story, I guess. I don't know. The ending was kind of weird. Was it really a good, I don't know, you know? Oh, I hate that she ended up with Atlas. I don't know why everyone's in love with Atlas. Atlas, low-key not my least favorite character, definitely not. Ryle was my least favorite character, but Atlas gave me the ick more than anybody in the book. I feel like he waits his whole life to be with Lily, like giving obsessive, giving like, I'm low-key scared of him now. There were just so many things about his story that didn't make sense. And he just, I can't even like put into words how I feel about it. The more I think about it, the more I don't like the book. So I'm just gonna stop talking about it. Honestly, I just felt like most of the characters were pretty one-dimensional, which makes the book hard to read for me. She only focused on the plot of like surviving abuse and didn't focus on any other character or any of the side plots to make the main plot make sense, if that makes sense. So, spoiler review of Heartbones. I feel like I don't have too much more to add because I loved this book so much. There's nothing really to like nitpick about it. The plot twist of Samson actually being like on the run essentially, like I did not expect that. I felt like things were off with him, but I had totally thought maybe like, you know, he mentioned how a parent had died, maybe his father is really uninvolved. Like I genuinely didn't guess it. I'm not good at guessing twists in books, and I loved the twist. And I also, something I really appreciate Colleen Hoover for in this book is how she approached I just realized I don't know the main character's name. Hold on. What? Oh yeah, Bea, right? Bea? Yeah. How she approached how Bea reacted to Samson, like initially, of course, she's like, I need to stay and help him, but then the fact that it motivated her to go to college, focus on herself, like enjoy kind of her early 20s, and then it actually solidified what she wanted to do as a career, which is going to set her up for success, and seeing how she overcame so much from where she grew up is just incredible. And I love a good personal growth story. I love that the love she had for Samson motivated her to be better rather than throw her life away to chase after a boy. Great way to end the book. Like literally phenomenal. And then the old lady's name, Margie or whatever it is. Anyway, her giving Samson the house was so heartwarming, and I just feel like it gave off the vibes of like the community kind of all came together to realize like this guy has great intentions and is just given a rough life, and that's exactly how Bea's life was too. And so I just love that she was able to open up and she had that connection with her stepsister, and just so many things about this book really hit home for me. I don't know, it just really did something to me and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, still 5 stars. Maybe the one thing I wish wasn't in this book was him finding the bones of what we find out was his father and then throwing them into the ocean. It kind of scared me because I was like, oh my gosh, are they gonna get in trouble for this? Like, I'm not sure what the laws are about finding bones and what you have to do about that, but I wish they would have, but I understand he couldn't call the police because, oh my gosh, wait, I just made that connection. He couldn't call the police because then he would be caught. But I wish that he could have had his father like cremated and then thrown his ashes into the ocean rather than like dig up his bones and put them in the ocean. Like, that's rough. That was a tough part to read, but other than that, I loved it. Well, that officially wrapped up my reading Colleen Hoover books. So my official review of Colleen Hoover as an author is I wish she would stick to books like Heartbones. Heartbones was heartwarming, character development, absolutely loved it, 5 stars. The other books, I feel like she just tries to add too much shock factor to the point that you're like taken out of the story because you're like, this is so unrealistic, or like, this is really weird, or literally I feel like throwing up because this is so gross, or, you know, and I'm talking more like Verity on that one, or like It Ends With Us, there was so much cringy banter, and I just like, I don't know what the timeline of which books she wrote first, but if she wrote a million books like Heartbones, I feel like I would love her as an author. But from what I've heard, most of her books are more like It Ends With Us and Verity, so I don't know if I'll read another one of her books. But hey, you like what you like, and just because I don't like it doesn't mean that you can't. I obviously think that Colleen Hoover has the ability to be a really talented author and writer with Heartbones. I just didn't really like her writing as much in the other two. And that's fine because everybody has personal taste, and that's the fun part about reading, is you can read what you like and what makes you happy and what makes you enjoy reading. So, Colleen Hoover, keep killing it, doing great out there. If you want to read her books, go for it. Enjoy your reading. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.